right, folks, we are here live for episode 10 of Radio Reflex, and we're doing this live on the Facebook page tonight. So, it should be good. We can see your comments and everything. So, if you want to comment in, feel free to comment in. We might even do a Q&A at the end if you got some questions for us. But yeah, so other than that, of course, I'm Ian, and my co-host today on Radio Relax. It looks like.
Yeah, it's Alan here. Yeah, I'm enjoying. Well, to be honest,
look, even Leon says you look comfy.
Yeah, no, he says I look according to that. I look comfy. Yeah, I look comfy. No, I am. For those of you that are out there in New Zealand, you know what today is. For you who aren't from New Zealand watching this, is New Zealand just went to level 3 lockdown, and literally the most important part of level 3 lockdown is that fast food places are open again. So my wife yesterday put an order in for Hell Pizza to arrive at 6:30, but it arrived at 7, and I've got a full belly full of my favorite, the vegetarian pizza that has all the spinach and feta, all the sun-dried tomatoes on it. So I just had one of those, and I am full. And it seems the rest of New Zealand basically has gone out there and queued up outside of KFC. I think good old Gary saying he was 12th in the queue at a KFC. I don't know where. Somewhere, and it opened half an hour late, but he got KFC. His commitment, Gary not only a committed flesh and blood player, but committed KFC fan there as well. KFC lover, yeah. But right, I don't blame people.
I must admit, yes, we are in level 3, so things are changing. We are getting back to a bit of normalcy. I, for one, got to go into work today. Yeah, so
work you did on me?
No, I got the phone call. I've been given a task.
Okay.
Yeah. My task being the low rung on the totem pole. I had to pick up the heat shrinking machine and the plastic to make all the baggies that we send out the armory kits in. So that is my job for the next little bit, is to be production line of getting ready the armory kits that will get sent out to all our stores around the world. So that is what I am going to be doing in the next couple of days. So I know, very cool.
I know how much you enjoyed that last time. I truly,
well, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, but it was good to see. I got to briefly see James, Jason, and Chris were in the office when I went in to pick up. So that was nice to see some other people that I hadn't seen in over a month. Had a very quick chat with them at a distance, and back into the office on Friday for another task, which I'm looking forward to.
Yes, I'm also going to be in on Friday for the secret thing that we can't talk about, doing some secret stuff. But it'll be fun.
Yeah. So basically, as we said, New Zealand's on level 3. Takeaways are open. Game stores, while not open for gaming, I do know that both Vagabonds, Hobby Master have got contact pickups happening, so they're open for contactless pickups happening, as well as delivery. I know, obviously, Mighty Ape and Card Merchant have got delivery going on. So if you need your flesh and blood, or if you need your sleeves, or like yourself, Alan, you need a new folder for all your trades, you can get those. And we do suggest, if you have the ability to support a local store, please do so, because obviously all those businesses are struggling, and the more we help them out in this time of need, the more likely we're going to have places to play once we get back to normal. So that'll be good. So shout out to Amal and Vags and Andy at Hobby Master and all the people, and David Mighty Ape and Matt at Card Merch, and all those people who are working hard to keep the hobby alive and moving on. In fact, Matt's even in the chat. Hey, Matt.
Matt is in the chat, yeah. Hey, just one other thing is obviously, there's some of the big stores, you've just mentioned Vagabonds, Hobby Master Card Merchant, but keep your eye out. There's a bunch of stores that are out there that are all getting online stores. I've just seen today Valkyrie Games in Palmerston North, Caffeinated Dragon in Wellington, also Cerberus Games are doing, I think they're even doing a contactless pickup 20% off sale. So check out Cerberus Games. I know if you're a fan of King of Cards in town, they're also
doing a big board sale.
Big board game sale on Facebook.
Yeah, and Bay Dragon as well, I believe, is doing delivery as well. Free delivery if you spend over $150. So, which is pretty much blocks and some sleeves.
Yeah. So just check out. Yeah, check out. There's a whole bunch of stores that are all jumping on the on the delivery. Getting web stores. So
and as I said, we really want to make sure that we're. Whoever you're supporting, whoever's your local, please support them in this time. It is very important, especially for people like us that are in a niche hobby. That these are the times that can be an absolute killer for niche stores. So let's support our locals as much as we can, and same in Australia, same in the States. If you can order, if they've got the ability to order online or anything, please do. That's what we're all about. We're all about the community and having a place for us to get together in the flesh and blood once this is all over. And please do not inject yourself with any bleach or any chemicals. I just, I may not be the leader of the free world, but at least I know that is a dumb idea.
If you haven't done it, how can you be so sure, Ian?
Yeah.
How can you be so sure?
I haven't done a lot of things, and I'm pretty sure I don't want to do them. So yeah. So that's,
you never know. It could be a trip. It could be a trip.
That is good. That is good housekeeping. We're gonna move on before it gets any weirder. So we're gonna move on to Scoreboard. I love these new banners that we've got here. It's great.
Show us the technology, Ian. Well, we've got to add our results from the last league. Yes. I know you played double league again last week.
I did play double league. Yeah. And one of them was really good. One of them wasn't very good at all. So let's start with the one that was very good, which was the one that you weren't in.
Hold on. Fist pump. Fist pump.
In casual, I actually went in casual. I went 3-1 in the Swiss, which was cool. I started my week playing, as it seems to be how I start my weeks now, as I was playing Sasha. He was playing Kano, and I managed to avenge my loss in the casual from the week before, and took out Sasha. I think we talked briefly about this on the podcast last week because I'd already played that game.
What's the score between you and Sasha?
So between me and Sasha after the last week, we've played 4 games, and we're 2-2. So I feel that's a win for me. I played Lee from Oz. He was playing Brute. I managed to scrape by him. Luckily, the Brute gods weren't disheartened by me playing Brute, so I managed. Again, I was playing Ranger in both leagues just because I decided I wanted to play Ranger for the Card Merchant $1,000 tournament later in the week, so I wanted to get some games in. yeah, so that worked out okay, and managed to eke out a win there. I then went on to play Christian, who I lost to. He was playing Ninja. I have not beaten Christian in like the 4 weeks of league play. I've played him nearly every week, either in casual or non-casual, and he's beat me every time. So that I couldn't break that streak. But again, it's a very interesting match, Ranger versus Ninja, because it really is a race, and it comes down to either one player making a bad mistake or who gets the better draws. And Christian again in that match, I foreshadowed what I did later in the week as well. As I took a turn where I thought I had a really good hand, and I decided not to block, and then he punished me on the turn that I decided not to block, more so than what I got back on the swing back. So I've kind of learned my lesson there. And then in the fourth match, I played Nick Marino. He was, again, another person playing Kano, which was interesting. Now, I feel like I've got the Kano matchup somewhat sorted, and I was able to get a win there, which then put me into top 4, which then put me against Christian again, playing Ninja. And lo and behold, like I did in the round robin, he managed to beat me because I undercommitted to blocking on a turn where I got absolutely hammered and just couldn't bring it back. But all in all, pretty good in the casual with Ranger, and making a top 4, which I was pretty happy about. So talking about the Comp League, how did you go this week, Alan?
Okay, so Comp League this week was pretty huge. It was, I think, in the end, 32 players. So I actually got a little bit caught out because it actually went to 5 rounds this week. And then they also did the top 8, I think, happened Sunday because, of course, a lot of people were playing the 1K on Saturday. Yeah, so in the end, pretty well, basically, it's a bit of a story of figuring out. I think you had a big hand in it, figuring out how to play my deck. I've got my notes here. So I played, I think, first 2 rounds were both ninjas. I played Nick Anderson, who obviously we all know is a long-term ninja player. I played Lee as well from Australia, Lee Fletcher.
So we managed not to have the double loss to Lee. So this time he doesn't get he was the chosen one this week, and he couldn't get it done.
Yeah, so I lost to both of them playing Viscera. So I was playing the Jacobs Viscera deck again. I didn't make any changes to it from the last league because I just wanted to persevere. Now, the thing about this week is pretty much the first half of the league, I tried to play the game by just accumulating rune chants and just sitting back, and going for a big turn, and it just never really worked out, and I was getting very frustrated. I played Kieran. Kieran was on Guardian.
Yeah.
And he just he CNC'd me, command and conquered me 3 times, and crippling crushed me twice, and I just was never able to block nearly enough, and he just dominated me out of the game. And then I had when we were testing this out, I had a bit of a game against you where I was going to test out playing the deck because I was either just trying to play aggro and just play every attack. And I think what I learned is going into my 4th match was that's pretty much the wrong way to play Viscera. So, and probably Jacob knows this too well, is that what I just needed to do was to play it how it lay, basically, rather than going in with a preconceived notion of what I should be doing. Just see what the cards did. And I was very happy. The last 2 games of the league worked out a lot better. I had a really good game against Jake Russell from the States. He's in California, so not the biggest time. Yeah. So it was very cool catching up with him because he was also playing Jacob's list in the casual league. So he had actually talked to Jacob extensively. He said he talked to Jacob for about over an hour about the thing, and I was like, oh, God, that's what I should be doing. So he knew the deck. But he was on Ninja in this league, and I managed to go on the offense. I had a good turn 1 where I generated about 6 Runeblade tokens. But just simply what I did is just tried to mix it up. Never trying to lay in the attacks, never trying to just accumulate tokens. I mean, just played it like a normal deck, really. Yeah. So I got the win there. It was really good. Command and Conquers with a pummel. At least got at least two Command and Conquers that were pummeled. It was really good. And, of course, Drawn to the Dark Dimension. I really hadn't been playing that card because I'm just mainly using it to pitch, but I actually got to realize how good it is because of course, its cost is reduced by the number of rune charts. Yeah. But most importantly, you draw a card, and you draw a card immediately. So it's a great target for pummel. So like a yellow drawn into the Dark Dimension is only attacking for 2. It's probably most likely free because hopefully you've got 2 rune charts. But if you draw a pummel off the top, or even just like an extra card to help you pay for a pummel, it's just and people don't give that card the respect. So so it was really good. 5th round was against another American, was Alberto. So Alberto was somebody that I actually conceded a game to in one of the previous leagues. And I said, all right, well, hopefully we can play again. So we got matched up. He was playing Warrior because it really seemed like last week people were high on Kano. Obviously, there was a lot of people playing Kano, testing it out. But it seemed to be the week of Warrior, the Warrior coming back. I know Marnie was playing Warrior.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of talk the week before that no one had played Warrior, or very few people had played Warrior. So I think a number of people took it upon themselves to bring back Dorinthia. So yeah,
I think it was
definitely a lot of Warrior love last week. Yeah.
Well, it's also some of the big players were dipping into Warrior. So I think it was Warrior's kind of hyped. So Alberto played Warrior against me, and for 75% of the game, I had him on the ropes. I think I'll ask you about this, Ian, if you think it's right. It's curious. It caught me by surprise. I got a bunch of rune chants. I think I got to about 6 or 7 rune chants, maybe 8. And I came into attack against Alberto, and he played a prayer against me, which I really didn't expect for people to keep prayers in against Viserai, because I assume really because Viserai is all.
I would keep my prayers in against Viserai.
Okay, no, well that's cool. I wasn't sure about it. It actually caught me by surprise because I assumed he would just use one of his rune armors to deflect it, but he rolled. Obviously, he got really high on it.
It's better value than if you've only got Arcane Barrier once. It's still better value.
Oh, it worked out to be great value for him because I think he paid for it off a tunic as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cost 1, so it really stymied. But for most of the game, there's a good at least 8 to 10 life points difference between us, and I was on the offensive. And then towards the end of the game, I just wasn't able to push damage through. He defended really well, and I had some awkward hands where I literally just had no attacks, nothing to push through, and he just kind of caught up. And it came to a turn where he attacked. I had to defend from my hand, and he had 2 double reprise cards to +7.
Yeah.
His weapon, and it just died. So it was, I feel a little bit unlucky. Alberto played it well at the end. He came back, but it was still a better match because I didn't feel like I was rolled. I got a bit unlucky at the end, and Alberto played out of his skin to get the life totals back. So it was a 1-4, but I felt it could have been a 2-3. It wasn't far off being a 2-3. So so that was the comp league over one weekend.
So you got one back off there.
Yeah, I got one back. So the question is, but what did you get out of it? How
many did I get? Yeah. So
fingers crossed for a 1-4 here.
For a comp play, I played Dani first round of. I think we talked about this last week on the podcast. I played his Dorinthia, and very close match, which he just won with a really nice final hand. I then played Winway. Now Winway was playing Kano, but he was playing a really weird version of Kano. I'd be very interested to know how he went the rest of the week. But basically, he was playing non-Kano. He was playing attack Kano, which was weird.
Is this up there with your Dom Rinthia?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I need to make the Dom Rinthia deck to play against this. But yeah, no. So effectively, Kaniel was blank. He never used the ability. Didn't have any burn spells in it. It was basically just playing sort of a generic attacks deck. I guess trying to catch people off. I mean, admittedly, what it did do, because I didn't know that's what he was playing. It partly worked that I took out all my defense reactions before going into the match because I was like, I don't need them. I put in the Arena's Prayers, which were then dead cards, and I didn't have any defense reaction cards. But I was also playing because I was playing Azalea. I just overpowered him with multiple arrow shots a turn, and because you can. That's the joy about Ranger is that you can just block with half your hand and still be able to do a fair amount on your own turn. So I was able to.
Did he have a name for this deck list? I feel like it should be called like Muggle Kano or something like that. It's Harry Potter without any of the powers. It's like it should be called Dursley Wizard. It should be called Dursley the deck. Because I mean, what did he actually play against you? So I assume like for a line, Scar for a Scar.
E-strikes. He was playing Command and Conquer with the pummels and stuff like that. It's just. I think he may have had Demolition Team in that, maybe.
Oh, nice.
As much as I love that card, respect.
Love to you, Wenway. This is cool, Wenway. I hope it worked against somebody.
Yeah. Let us know if anyone else played against Wenway. Let us know how that went. So that's a win there. I then played against Tom Penny, who was playing Brutes. And that was a really close game. I just ran out of a bit of gas near the end, and he was able to finish me off with the Brute. And then my other nemesis in league play, who I haven't won a game against, was Alex, playing Guardian. Just didn't have enough to push through all the defense reactions of Guardian. It was actually a very close game. I almost got there, but he had a turn where he played double blessings and got 6 life back, and you're like, that late in the game, I was he fatigued me out. I mean, I started with 73 cards, and he almost he did fatigue me out in that game, which is just brutal, and just so hard to get damage through with the life gain and all the defense reactions in that deck. So I ended the week on 1-4. So what we have here, I believe, is so let me just pull up what was last week. So I'll add my 1, and then Alan, you got 1 from last week. So I believe there we have it. It is Iain 8, Alan 3. So you didn't lose ground. It feels like you gained, but and this week we're both in Casual League, which I think maybe you'll have a little bit of a better chance to get some wins in there.
Well, we'll see.
There you go. And I was just talking about Alex, and there he is in the comments there.
Yeah.
So again, it was a good game, Alex. And you and Christian are my absolute nemesis come league play. I have not been able to beat either of you. So that is my goal before I get out of lockdown, is to beat at least one of them.
Well, we'll see what happens. Casual League this week, I think there's just 10 players in this week, so there's a good chance we're going to meet.
Yeah, it's interesting. You and I had a quick look at the matchups, our first matchups. We're both playing Americans.
Oh yeah, I've got.
You're playing Alberto. You're playing Alberto again.
Yeah, maybe Alberto. Might be. Yeah. Maybe Alberto is my. I enjoyed playing against Alberto. He was really good fun. But maybe he's my new American. He's my American nemesis, Alberto.
And I've got Travis Reeder, who I haven't played before, so it'll be interesting to see what he is packing. But yeah, so we're starting our campaigns off against the States this week, which should be fun.
Well, it's interesting. There are a few players in both leagues. I think we've still got some people like Nicholas Marino to contend against, and is Sasha in the casual league as well?
I don't know. I didn't check. I wasn't paired against him, so
yeah.
I'll
have to have a look.
But yeah. And so, and then, of course, the other big event that happened last week was the $1,000 store credit card merchant event, which ran on Saturday, which was Anzac Day here, here and in Australia. So that was good. I had a very early start. I had a 4 a.m. start because the other game that I play, Super Show, was having their virtual grand gathering online event. When I signed up for it, they said like the tournaments were going to start at like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern time, which would have been 6 or 7 in the morning. But on that day, I had made the playoff. Well, no, I had made a playoff to get into the top cut of the tag tournament. So I mean, I had to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning and play 2 matches to force my way into the top cut. I managed to pull off one win, and then I succumbed to just being way too tired to think, and so I missed out on making the top cut there. But I was up early enough to listen to the dawn service, which was great. Again, a big thank you to anyone who has ever served their country in the military forces, or anyone who has family who has, we know the commitment it takes to be away from your loved ones to defend your country. So that's what Anzac Day is about. Is lest we forget the people who put their lives on the line to defend our way of life. It's quite personal for me because my godfather was in the New Zealand Army. He's no longer with us, so Anzac Day is always a sort of a remembrance for me of my godfather.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny because Anzac Day, I think in the last 10 to 15 years, has become a lot more important in New Zealand and Australia. I feel like the recent generations spend a lot more. It's got a lot more. I remember Anzac Day when I was a kid didn't seem nearly as important as it does these days, and I feel like all those dawn services, obviously this year being the exception, keep on growing and growing. So it is kind of cool.
Well, I think it's really because it's got a lot to do with the fact that there is of course it is the remembrance of Gallipoli, but I think it is also sort of transcended that, and it is the remembrance of everyone who served. It's basically our Veterans Day now, as opposed to just being focused. I mean, it is very focused on Gallipoli and stuff like that, but it is also a time to remember all people who served throughout the time. But anyway, so
sounds Ian. Unfortunately, you wrecked yourself before you went into the tournament. I didn't play. I had a day of housework and working around the house already scheduled that day, so I did try and play and to just try and see and get it if I could get in. But it's all right. I don't regret my decision. It looked like it was a pretty tough field.
Very tough. I have a quick rundown of who I played. So I was playing Azalea. First round, I played against Hayden, who was playing Dash. The control Dash, double induction chamber, just so hard to get enough damage through, as well as taking all those hits from the pistol. So he managed to outrun me there. I then played Keith. who was playing Ninja. Again, I really need to stop thinking I can take a turn off from blocking against Ninja, because again in this I took a turn off trying to set up a big return turn and took like 15 damage on a turn. I thought I was only going to take about 8 damage and ended up taking in 15 damage because I just undercommitted early, and then the mask triggers and stuff like that, and the Katsu trigger. And
you know what the problem is, Ian? It's your weakness is Wellington Ninja players. Wellington Ninja players, Keith's from Wellington. You always know who won the car challenge 3 times. Wellington Ninja players.
Exactly. I played Alberto in the 3rd round against his warrior, and I gotta say I've got to apologize to Alberto because my deck played perfectly, exactly how it played, and it really blew him out of the water. It was quite brutal. Just he had to spend I was hitting. I was hitting multiple turns where I was getting 3 attacks in with Azalea, with like a nimble strike, ravenous rabble into like a dominated arrow or something like that, or E strike, nimble strike, ravenous, or E strike, nimble strike, snatch. It was brutal. It really was brutal. So I apologize to Alberto. It was just a match where everything went perfect draw wise for the deck. So that managed to lift my spirits. So then I was 1-2. Then I came against Matthew Clark. He again playing Dash. Again, just such a hard deck to deal with. The double induction version of Dash is so hard. I went out really quickly. I was like, I need to hit him really hard before that second induction chamber gets on. I got him down to about 18, 16 life. Then he hit like a tome of Fendal. Then he got the second induction chamber out, and then it just went to custard for me, and I couldn't push through the rest of the damage, and I just succumbed to the double induction chamber, which is brutal. And then my last game was against Rommel, who we both played several times in league play. He was playing Brute this time, and again I managed to pull off the win. Again, I know the matchup, even though I haven't played Azalea versus Brute a lot. I've played it enough to know that matchup, and I've played Brute enough to get a vibe for what the Brute where the Brute player is and what they're trying to do. So I feel I got a pretty good fix on that. But ended up 2 and 3, which being up since 4 in the morning was not a bad outcome. To be fair, I think I ended up 20th out of 30. So top 2/3.
Yeah, it was. And the problem is, you with 2-3 is out. I mean, 3-2 is honestly out. Even if you got 3-2 top 8, that's often not enough to make top 8. And these kind of events, there's a few people that would, I think, maybe skim in at 3-2. But yeah, it's a pretty tough event. You got a lot of top players, and God, like, Tome is all over the place. I mean, before it's just us Brute players that were relying on scab skins to get some life. But it seems like everybody, a lot of people are on the Tome chains. I think.
Yeah, I think probably the card that's probably gone up in price the most from Welcome to Wraith would be Tome. Obviously, E-Strikes and stuff were always good and stuff like that, so they'll always hold their value. But I definitely think Tome is probably a bit more sought out after now. There are a number of decks. I mean, Dash plays it. Again, as I said, you can play it in so many builds. I think it is becoming quite a played card.
Yeah, and I think, there's a lot more cards now that allow you to play it, so it's just not the end of your turn, like lead the charge and stuff like that, allow you to play it. So, I mean, it's just like the life gain, because 2 cards and possibly up to, it could be up to like 6 life if you're playing it off Tunic, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was cool. Metrics Daily also streamed. I did catch the semi-finals on stream, which is really cool. I think Logan actually narrated some of maybe the finals, but I think I saw one of the quarter semi-finals, I believe it was. I think it was Rohan versus Alex. I could be wrong, but that's a match I saw. And since I haven't actually played against that much, you've played against Dash a lot more than I have, I really got to see the double induction chamber, because Rohan got behind, but he was the first Dash player to get double induction chamber. And sorry if I'm getting this wrong, if it wasn't Alex he was facing. But yeah, Alex only got 1 induction chamber. And also the power of Command and Conquer. Those Command and Conquers being battered around the place. Incredibly strong. But it's pretty interesting to try and keep track of the game. You're trying to watch like one player, counter, remove counter, remove counter, remove counter. It's interesting to watch. So I'm not sure I want to play one of those decks, because I'm sure I would miss a step.
I must admit, I probably am gonna hold off playing Dash until we're slinging real cardboard again. I think it's easier to keep track of when you're doing it real cardboard. That, like, having played Azalea all week, I got pretty quick at what I was doing with Azalea, but for the life of me, I was like, you know what, I really can't wait to be doing this with real cardboard, because it's going to be so much quicker than dealing with doing all the extra steps through TTS.
Yeah, I agree. But let's have a look. I've got the top eight in front of me. There was a published metagame of everything, and one of the big things is I think there's only it seems like the Arcane Rising classes, besides Dash, got frozen out of the event. I think there's only 1 Viscera player. I think the big decks were Warrior and Dash going into it. And then when the Dust Cleared in top 8 was announced, it was Dash took 3 places.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It is a very versatile deck, and I'm not sure, because I had a look at the deck list, but I'd be interested to see if they were all the sort of double induction chamber semi-control, or if someone was playing the more straight control deck.
Well, we had three dashes. We had 1 Dorinthia, 1 Brava, so Guardian gets in there. Rhina, Carol, props to Carol for making sure Rhina was in the top 8. And, of course, there was 2 Katsu players. Now, I've got Rohan's list in front of me. It's really interesting. The big thing is, it's got the induction chambers, obviously, and that really pulled him through in that semi-final. Interesting things, of course, is only 1 unmovable, 1 red unmovable in the entire deck. So just there is... and
I think that's all you really need. I am... The more and more we're getting further into playing more and more Arcane Rising, the less and less I like unmovables. They just cost a lot. They're very easy to counter. Well, not easy to counter, but with Command and Conquer, it's terrible. It's a terrible feeling getting caught with it and stuff like that. So
it's a big liability, unless you're playing Guardian, I think. But the other, basically he had Fate for Scenes. He had interesting, Fate for Scenes. He's got red Fate for Scenes. He's got yellow Fate for Scenes in the deck.
Which again are really good options if you go in the boost route and Dash, because it does allow you to know whether or not that, going into your next turn, whether or not the top card on your deck is in fact a Mechanologist card. So you can. So if you want to choose to boost that turn, you can do so without guessing.
Yeah. The other interesting thing is, of course, maybe it's just a solid card, but I certainly feel like Command and Conquer has put their card up top, is he is running a full complement of pummels. He's got the 3 red pummels. He's got 3 yellow pummels. He's even got 3 blue pummels in the deck list. So I suppose the other thing is, I see Pursuit of Knowledge. People are playing Pursuit of Knowledge everywhere because,
and that's
Pursuit of Knowledge is pitches.
And I think that's why he'd be running all 3 pummels, because it's not actually just the Command and Conquer. The pummel is great with the Pursuit of Knowledge because it pushes that, because you only have to do 1 damage with Pursuit of Knowledge for it to draw you 5 cards the next turn, and 5 cards is such a huge advantage.
Yeah, and one very cool thing is, of course, he's got just one conviction amplifier, which I think is a great way to end games. It comes into play with 2 steam counters on it. 0 cost pitches for one, but it's basically remove a steam counter from conviction amplifier. The next attack action card you play this turn gains dominate. So if you think about a dominator, like being able to dominate a Command and Conquer or a Pursuit for Knowledge and being able to pummel at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he plays it, but that's a great choice if you are running maximum velocity as well.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. No, I don't think his. I'm pretty sure maybe Alex's list, I saw a maximum velocity. Yeah. I don't think he ever got to play it, but that was definitely in the list. Also running Rifting, red Rifting in the deck. Which
Rifting's good because that allows you to set something up for the next turn if it hits.
Yeah.
Again, another good. And again, I believe. Oh no, Rifting's only a 1 cost, I believe.
No, Rifting's a 2 cost, but
it is 2. Okay, so it is. It is. So but what I'm saying is, so it's a 2 cost, so it can be pummeled.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So the list is really interesting. Both players in that quarterfinals, basically, their dash versus dash, both had induction chambers out with their ability. It was a really cool match. But of course, the finals was Rohan with dash versus Nick Butcher. Now, I think Nick might be the new Sasha. I saw some memes about I'm going to go play in a Fab event. Oh no, Nick Butcher's playing. Might as well go home because I believe Nick won the 1K and he won the Comp League as well in the same weekend.
Good, possible. Yeah,
I might have to check that. I think that was the case, but he
definitely has been put in a lot of work during lockdown. He has been getting good results because he also won. Did he not win the winner case as well?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, with Control Dash, I believe.
Yeah, it could be.
And Nick is definitely probably the player of the pandemic. I'm going to call Nick.
That's catchy.
That is, he has really been putting in a lot of work and getting a lot of really good results. I know he tests a lot as well as plays in as many events as he can. So definitely. If you draw Nick Butcher, you're going to be in for a tough matchup.
Nick is a smart cookie, and as I mentioned last week before, I was going to do some coverage for the Road to Nationals event that didn't happen, and I asked Nick to give if he could give me some before and after, kind of answers. I had some questions from before and after, and he had some interesting stuff to say. And a lot of it was about Warrior, so there's some gold. Looking at his Warrior list, one thing, of course, is now Arcanite Skull Cap seems to be kind of a default choice for Warrior headgear at the moment.
Well, and that's fair enough, is it? Because it's solid against Ninja, it's solid against Dash. If you're playing Viserai or Wizard, if you play it right, you can get some value out of it. But really, in Warrior, there's not as many other options for headwear. So really, of the options that are available, it's understandable why it is the one that being chosen.
Yeah, I think it's a superior choice over Hope Merchant's Hood, which was really what else was it? Warrior was
Yeah,
playing.
and Warrior doesn't really need talismanic lens as much as some of the other classes. So yeah, definitely, I would say.
I don't think it needs that. His list also does run like a null rune gloves if he needs to bring in more. Yeah. One route, only 2 steel blade supremacies. I think it's pretty typical now.
Yeah, I think one route is pretty much the default now. Again, it's because the deck is so reliant on sort of red line that paying 2 for a reaction is pretty expensive. So yeah.
And basically, the rest of the deck is a mixture. You've got your Razor Reflexes, Overpower, Steelblade Shunts, a few Iron Sign responses. But you've got plenty of attacks. You've got your Enlightened Strike, Scar for a Scar, Ravenous Rabble, and Life for a Life, which seems to be kind of like, I don't know, Ravenous Rabble, Scar for a Scar, Enlightened Strike. They seem to be like kind of a generic package for attacks. So if you're looking for solid, sturdy attacks that have go again or some big advantage, I think those are kind of like the 4 attacks that you automatically put into these decks at the moment.
I think so.
A couple of Flock of Featherwalkers. The card's certainly a lot more people are playing that now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still on the fence about that card. Having played it in Ranger and got rid of it out of my Ranger deck, and I feel my Ranger deck is more consistent without it now. But again, maybe it's a little bit. Maybe it's better in that class than Ranger per se.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not a big fan of a card, but if he's running it, he knows what he's doing. And just in terms of defense against the Arcane, he's just got three prayers, 3 red prayers. So he's basically got two equipment that can give him protection from the Arcane, and just 3 cards. But I suppose all the rest of it is beating on the table.
And I think until the metagame switches and we see a lot more Viscera and a lot more Kano played, I think that is probably the right amount of defense.
I think you can skip on that.
Space to put in. There's going to come a time that you're going to need to up that. I believe Kano and Viscera are gonna get stronger as people play more of them, and with that you're gonna need to start thinking a bit more about a bit more arcane protection. But at the moment, I think that's about the right amount.
No, well, at the moment it's pretty easy to, and if you're playing League, it's quite possible you skirt any of those matchups altogether.
Exactly. While I played a lot of Kano last week, that is more unusual than the norm. So yeah. I mean, I other than the game that we played, I haven't actually even played Viscera against Viscera in League play this week, at all. So. Yeah. So with that being said, let's have a look briefly towards next week. I have decided that I am going to play Viscera this week. So
hit both on Viscera. Oh, great.
Yeah. So added bonus of this week is not just League Season 2 wins on the line. It is bragging rights to see you can play Viscera better.
Well, I feel like
you've had weeks to practice, so you need to.
Well, I feel like I've got more experience. I've got more experience, but I'm not sure if that can be. I mean, I feel like I turned a corner, but very late in that last league. So I mean, that's good, but we'll see. I mean, I've yet to play somebody else who's playing Viscera. So I mean, my experiences are mainly facing ninja players, and brute players with this, which hasn't worked out so well.
So we haven't had a booster bet for a while since Mania. So I'm going to put it out here that because I believe you owe me 2 boosters from Mania. So
I do. So let's double it up.
Double it up if we match up. So if we match up, the double up is for the winner of our matchup.
Oh, that sounds more than fair. 4 packs on the 8 packs for the winner. Well, keep 4 packs. That sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, let's double it. Well, let's hope. I mean, there's 10 players 10 players, 4 rounds, so there's a very good chance we'll get paired up.
And if we don't get paired up, the boosters roll over to the next bit.
Yeah, no.
So that means though you'd still owe me the 2 packs from WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But if we don't play, we've got booster packs to roll over.
Yeah. So the packs go into the pool. All right. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Alrighty. So I think that is us for Flesh and Blood this week. We've talked 50 minutes, so that's pretty good. We're gonna. We've only got 2 watches on, so I'm not sure if there's any point in doing Q&A at the moment. So let's head on to Kurt's Corner. And yeah, so what were we going to talk about Kurt's Corner today?
Well, we didn't. I was running through. No, we didn't. We didn't really have anything, but I was running through some ideas. Obviously, if we had some questions, we can still answer. But I think what I wanted to talk about
to the 3 viewers we have. If you got any questions, hit the comment section, and we're happy to answer questions.
Yeah.
But what was your thought?
Let's talk about our favorite toys. I mean, we waxed lyrical about comics, which we both were involved. You know, we had comics since we were kids. I was just thinking about what toys we most loved as kids. Not that I have any of those toys left from when I was a kid, but what? Yeah, tell me about your childhood toys. What was your toy line?
My toy lines. I had a couple going through. I had some of the Star Wars figures, not a huge amount though. Just a few. Like sort of every time a new movie came out, I got maybe 1 or 2. Probably my 2 favorite Star Wars figures that I did have was I had the Luke Skywalker Stormtrooper with the removable helmet. Which was cool, and I had a Han Solo and Carbonite, which actually you put in the Carbonite, which I still have. I believe it's actually worth a little bit of money now. Probably not in the state that my one is in, but yeah.
All those toys from those period are worth good money now.
Yeah,
if you have them on card and stuff like that.
I
had that Luke as well. That was cool.
And I can't remember for the life of me on whether or not they made a Han Solo in Stormtrooper armor.
I have a feeling that they didn't, but I'd have to look it up online.
I mean, it would have been cool if they did. But yeah, no, I can't remember ever seeing it. The line that I probably had the most of, that I was a big collector of, was G.I. Joe. It's a huge G.I. Joe fan. I sort of started a little bit before G.I. Joe. I had some Masters of the Universe. Those were cool. I do remember for my 9th or 10th birthday, I got Castle Grayskull, which was cool. But yeah, no, G.I. Joe. I think what G.I. Joe my love of G.I. Joe sort of stemmed from, as we were talking about back in the day, going to video stores and getting the G.I. Joe TV show, cartoon show on video, and the animated movies. I was always a big fan of those. But in 1986, our family did a trip to the States, and I remember picking up some sort of US exclusive G.I. Joes, and that's sort of what really started it off for me, and I became a big G.I. Joe collector.
Yeah. No, the toys. The only thing is, I remember is I never got that many toys. It was Christmas and birthdays, and the problem is, by the time you went back to the toy shop to get that stuff again, a whole year had passed. So literally it seemed, so the same stuff wasn't available anymore. So I remember obviously Star Wars. I had the Luke. I had an 80 driver. I had I actually had Max the band. What is the band from Jabba's Palace? I had Max Rebo. I had the Max Rebo plan, and I don't know why I brought it. Why as a kid, why would I want the band? I could get anybody else, but I had the band. And
not even the Cantina band, the Jabba's band, right?
Yeah, Jabba's band. I had Max Rebo. He was on the keyboards. There's Nice Noodles, and I don't know who the blue guy that looks a bit like a hippo. So no idea. I do remember stuff like Marshall Bravestar. Do you remember Marshall Bravestar? It was like sci-fi western. It was like sci-fi western Masters of the Universe kind of.
But they were smaller figures. They were like
they were very big figures. They were big figures. They were
I'm easily a different one that was like small, like they were like 3.5-inch figures.
No, Marshall Bravestars were easily larger than like He-Man figures. Like maybe they were quite large.
Or along like Centurions, sort of.
I can't remember what size Centurions was, but then again, it's
original Action Man sort of size.
Yeah, I think so. The other ones, I think the ones I held dearest as a child, because I never got many G.I. Joes despite loving the cartoon and getting the bubblegum cards, was Transformers. I have a very clear memory of my grandmother taking me to, it must have been Farmers in Auckland, because I often spent holidays with the grandparents, and going and getting a Grimlock, an original, whatever the most original Grimlock figure that arrived in New Zealand in, would have been early 80s. To wish I still had that figure. I did actually sell it off to someone 10 years ago or more, but God, I'm just thinking about what it would be worth if as a child, I've been thinking, God, maybe I should just keep this mint in the package. That would have been the idea. The young Alan, if I could only tell him, don't open any of your toys, that would be so. Yeah, so I had a lot of Transformers, but again, I don't know if you always had the dream of, but when you're getting like the Star Wars figures or any of those other like figures, you're like, you go to your mum and said, all right, Mum, I need a Luke, I need a Han, I need Obi-Wan. I also need 300 Stormtroopers because, and I need about 50 Rebel Troopers, and like, you've got to have at least 3 AT-ATs. And your parents look at you and they're like, sure.
Yeah. Like you never go multiple, like, I believe I like in the G.I. Joe range, I would always get whatever generic Cobra runt there was, in all the different facets, just to try and bulk up the numbers. But
I actually had a 2-pack.
The dream was to have a bunch of things.
I actually had a 2-pack of there was 2 twin characters. Reflections.
Yeah, the twins that and they had a scarf opposite scars. I had that as well, which was cool. Yeah. We do have a question.
We do.
Let me just I think that's probably enough on our toys because we're not huge collectors.
No, I'll say one favorite thing from my childhood is my favorite thing was just simple plastic toy soldiers. The American soldiers were green, the British soldiers were tan brown, the Germans were grey. Those were actually among my favorite toys, having a whole bunch of those, because you could have enough so you could have plenty of them die. Basically, I mean, you get to recycle the figures. But we've got a question from my biggest fan, and maybe I'm his biggest fan, Leonard Young.
There we go. What he wants to know is what I want to know is, do you think Raw will come in August still? For non-Kiwis, WWE had announced before the lockdown that they were coming in August. I don't know. I don't even think it's going to be up to them. I think it's going to be up to our government on border control, and I can't see them letting up the 2 weeks quarantine for international travel. So I would say not this August. I can't see it happening. I know a lot of the bands that had stuff they'd sort of rescheduled more to like November and early 2021. I think unfortunately it's going to be out of the WWE hands, and I think border control will probably still be in effect for this.
Well, if the other thing is if you think about this, Ian, is that any touring troupe, and certainly WWE is a big troop of people. There's a lot of wrestlers, behind the scenes people. Compared to a band, even a big band would have, a fraction of what WWE would have. Is that if they're coming to New Zealand, that means to do that kind of tour, it's not just a tour to New Zealand. They have to go through a variety of countries.
Yeah, it'd be Asia, it'd be Australia. And Leonard has said, I hope I can get a refund. I would imagine, absolutely, you'll be able to get a refund from the ticketing company. More than likely, what will happen, I believe, is that they will reschedule, and if it's like the band's, basically your ticket will be valid for the date that they reschedule. That being said, that's not 100% guaranteed with the WWE. I do remember a few years ago, NXT was supposed to come out in like early December for an early December show, and that got cancelled. I had ringside seats, which I was really annoyed about because I was really looking forward to it, because this was before DIY had broken up. Finn Balor was still champ. It was like Samoa Joe was in the main event scene with Finn Balor. I think it was still Finn Balor. Maybe Shinsuke had just shown up, but it was going to be an amazing show. And because they do so much touring, that it just got cancelled and they couldn't reschedule it. Yeah. That being said, I know Europe, border-wise, there's a lot of stuff that is in lockdown there, so they're not going to be able to do a lot of those tours as well. So I think they'll have to reschedule most of their international tours, and I believe that's probably what is going to happen, is that it'll be rescheduled. But yeah, I doubt we will see the E in New Zealand before fourth quarter of this year, and probably not until probably next year.
No, I can't just see having to go through a number of countries to make it worthwhile to do that tour with all the different restrictions. You can't go from country to country having 14 days in that country before you can perform. But I'm sorry, I'd actually completely forgotten that NXT was due to tour in. Actually, that would have been cool. Yeah, it would have been, because it went Balor, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke for the championship.
Yeah, exactly.
So all three of them would have been in that period. Would have been around.
Yeah, Joe was. I know Joe was definitely in the company at the time, because I know Mikhail was set to catch up with him. Our friend Mikhail, who some of you might know from IPW New Zealand's Impact Pro Wrestling as Liger. He's also a comic book artist, and he'd done the art on WWE Boom Studios WWE comics that Joe had written. So he was looking forward to catching up with Joe in person and giving him some artwork and getting some of his copies of the issue 13 of WWE Comics signed, which is the issue that he did with Joe. So I remember it quite vividly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, fingers crossed. They'll be back, but it's going to be a long time. Yeah. It's going to be a long time.
And to be fair, at the moment, I don't know. I am losing interest in what they're doing at the moment. So it may be a blessing in disguise, because, to be honest, if they postpone it until they're back doing live shows and stuff, it may actually end up that you get a better show. You get, who knows? It may end up that by postponing it, we may in fact get Edge out here again, which would be amazing.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I believe last time they toured, I believe the last show that they toured here, Edge was champion, maybe, or he was still wrestling. I know that much. So yeah. I do. Oh, it may have been the time before last, but I do remember.
The last time
it was the time before last, because I do remember, because I remember vividly just being so impressed, because it was he or Edge, and he got the crowd so riled up. Like he basically spent 7 minutes on the outside of the ring, not getting into the ring before the match started, and the crowd was so much more invested in that match than several other matches on the card. It was amazing to see someone at the top of their game really playing a crowd like a well tuned instrument. So it's always nice when the WWE does come out here. I know that they do love coming out to Australia and New Zealand, so it's not going to be the last time they come, but I can't see it happening August this year.
Well, the thing about this hidden blessing, maybe I can save up for one of those ringside seats for next time. So, yep, you know what? It's just like blockbuster movies. You know, I'm not going to get invested into it until it's all confirmed and coming out here. So, and if they can't tour the States at the moment, then, they can tour Florida, apparently, since it's an essential service. I hear the UFC is relocating to Florida since it's also considered an essential service.
Apparently AEW's starting to film live again, doing their weekly show live leading into their pay-per-view. I think that's a lot to do with, obviously there is the 90-day no-compete fee for a lot of the WWE guys who got released, but there are a couple like the Revival that don't have that clause, so I think they'll probably want to head up getting them on TV as soon as possible.
We'll see her.
Just one more copy from Leonard. It's like ringside seats are 1K. That's why Alan was saying it gives them enough time to start saving up if they do reschedule. So
Leo says this, but Leo understands about wasting money. Leo's we always joke. Leo's buy high, sell low. That's what Leo does. Leo's the world's worst card investor. He's always like. Me and Leo well know how to fritter our money away on stuff. But we've only got one life, and one day me and Charlotte will meet. We'll lock eyes. She'll realize she needs a fourth husband. That's what she'll realize, or is it a fifth husband?
I don't know.
One of his days. All right, enough of that. Since my wife's not watching this podcast.
Or is that your phone going up and going, oh, really? Alrighty. Anyway, guys, that is us for the week. We've been talking for over an hour, which I think is about time for us to sign off. I think this went pretty well. I think I have no idea. I think the streaming went well. Hopefully I can edit it together and put the podcast out tomorrow. So moving forward, I think this is what we will do. We'll stream on Tuesday nights, put the podcast out on Wednesdays if you missed the stream. Again, thanks to everyone who's tuned in. Everyone who is an essential worker or who's gone back to work now that we're in level 3 here in New Zealand, please stay safe, keep that social distancing as much as you can, and wash your damn hands. And hopefully we will get through this as quickly as possible, and we'll get to level 2 and back to level 1 where we can start to actually fling some cardboard in person again.
Fingers crossed that we can, a lot of you out there that have watched or that we communicate with on the leagues and stuff like that, hopefully we can actually get to see you again. Because I know there's a bunch of people I'd like to sit down and sling some cards with, even if we have to be 2 meters apart to sling those cards. That would be really good. That would do my heart some good.
All right. Thanks, guys, and we will catch you next week.